After 10 years of greatness, the Attack on Titan anime has finally ended. Now, the manga ended a couple years ago, and when the final chapter released, there was quite significant backlash geared towards Hajime Isayama for various reasons, some valid, some maybe not so much. But I think it's safe to say that many people were anxiously awaiting this final episode, hoping to divine justice that we wouldn't get another Game of Thrones, or How I Met Your Mother, or One Piece. Yes, I'm from the future. We were praying that this incredible anime that took the world by storm with its intricate mystery, shocking twists and turns, and horrifying examples of death, war, and hopelessness, to beautiful depictions of hope, love, and humanity, wouldn't let us down. A show with characters that felt real to the point that people wanted to live in this world, even with all its horror, just to be able to meet these people. It's a story that's not only brought to life brilliantly by both WIT Studios and MAPPA with gorgeous animation, voice acting, music, directing, art design, and so much more, but also by Isayama's incredible imagination and writing prowess. However, we've been in this situation before, having Masterpiece laying in our palms just for it to be swept away by a disappointing finale. The stage was set for Attack on Titan to fail spectacularly, but is this the case? Has Attack on Titan broken the odds and nailed its ending, cementing itself as the greatest show of all time? Or has it joined this ever-growing list of fantastic shows that fell flat right at the end? However, before answering this question, I'm going to take us back to the start, because I feel I at least need to lay the foundation for this finale and everything that was at stake. If you haven't watched the finale yet, then you can still watch this video up until I give you a spoiler warning. However, there will be spoilers for pretty much the whole show leading up to the final episode. If you enjoyed, then leave a like, it would be greatly appreciated, and leave your own thoughts on the finale and just Attack on Titan in general down in the comment section. Oh, so this is not going to be an in-depth analysis of the whole show. I'm just going through some of my most memorable moments to highlight the parts where Attack on Titan transcended as a show for me, which all provides context for the finale. And so I'm taking us all the way back to 2013 when season 1 of Attack on Titan came out and took the world by storm. Now, I love a lot about this season. Although it's not the strongest, it still has some awesome moments, from seeing the kids train to become scouts to their first battle in Trost, seeing all this death and destruction firsthand, to the arc with the female Titan, seeing Levi in proper action for the first time. This season also just set the stage for the greatness of the show by introducing the main characters: Eren, Armin, Mikasa, Jean, Sasha, Connie, Reiner, Bertolotto, Levi, Erwin, Hanji, Ani. However, all of the greatness of this first season cannot compare to the first episode, which is perfect. The fall of Shiganshina. This is where it all started, and what a first episode. From the mystery of the walls to the horrifying image of the Titan breaking down the wall, to Eren seeing his mom get eaten, and this episode sets the stage for everything that comes after. This episode both gets the viewer emotionally and intellectually invested in the show, but it also sets up Eren's character, which is the heart of Attack on Titan. The first episode is one of the best first episodes of any show ever. Now, season 2 took a while to come out, but it was absolutely worth the wait. This is the season where some of the big questions began being answered, like who the Colossal and Armored Titans were, but it also led to so many more questions. The reveal of Bertringa and Reiner in episode 6 remains to this day one of the greatest twists of all time in fiction. The nonchalantness of it, to the look of betrayal on Eren's face, all with UC Big Girl playing at full blast. This moment is perfect, and the real shock to me came from the fact that I wasn't expecting this question to be revealed already. I thought the Colossal Titan was the main villain, but it's just Bertolt. And like I said, this led to so many more questions that I was dying to find out, and the rest of the season goes by in a blink with, again, an amazing finale. But it just left more questions. Never has a show left me wanting answers this badly. And I know I could have just looked up the answers online, but I wanted to stick to the anime. I wanted to see my questions be answered, but I didn't mind waiting for them. And so season 3 came around, and part 1 is absolutely great and has a really tight and intriguing plot that sets up a lot of interesting ideas, but I want to talk about part 2, the return to Shiganshina, because it's one of the best arcs in anime history. This whole season is just incredible all the way throughout, with the three-peat of Perfect Game, Hero, and Midnight Sun, all three being amongst the best TV episodes of all time, in my opinion at least, with Hero for a while being the only episode on TV with a a perfect 10 score on IMDb alongside Ozymandias. These episodes gave us some unforgettable moments, from Erwin's iconic final speech, to Armin and Eren fighting Bertarototo, to Levi versus the Beast Titan, to the decision to let Armin survive instead of Erwin, and the season ending with learning about the outside world and seeing the scouts on the beach is such a complicated yet emotional ending. There seems to actually be some joy on the faces of these characters until we see Eren point across the sea. We didn't know it at the time, but Eren was about to change, and this show that seemed like it just couldn't get better was about to get better. Season 4 is perfect in my eyes, with all its parts. We have part 1, part 2, and the first half of part 3, the special episode. And yes, I know the season went on forever, and I'm glad it did. It deserved the time and effort it was given because the story leveled up. On just an episode level, we were treated to some of the best in the entire series, with 2 more incredible three-peats in part 1 and part 2, with both the attack on Liberio and the twists and turns of Eren and Zeke's conflict within the paths. But I cannot talk about season 4 without talking about Eren, whose character seems at times unrecognizable from how he started, until you think about it and realize that Eren's actions all makes sense based on who he is. Eren hates nothing more than being caged up and being confronted with the knowledge that the evil forces he had been fighting against are also just people stuck in cages, rather than this outside world looking like the world Armin showed him when they were children, causes his whole worldview to change. All of Eren's actions are about gaining freedom, and while his actions absolutely should not be justified by anyone in any way whatsoever, and anyone who does so needs to get a grip, you can still understand why he does what he does based on who he is and how he thinks, and appreciate this from a character perspective. However, Eren isn't the only standout of this season. Him becoming the villain of the story gives a lot of room for all the other characters to shine, and seeing the scouts team up with not just the warriors but also the Marlians, setting aside their differences to fight for humanity, is incredible payoff after a whole show filled with conflict between them. The penultimate episode was also just a banger, and it got me super hyped for the finale, even though Hanji dying killed me. At least she went down in a blaze of glory. Literally. However, all of this leads us to the final chapter, the last ever episode of Attack on Titan. And I'm writing this section here right after watching the episode, so it might be all over the place and my emotions might run away with me, but I wanted to show my genuine reaction. I didn't want these feelings to be muddled by what I see on social media, and so I'm just putting it all down on paper right now. This won't be an in-depth analysis of the episode, just my thoughts and feelings on it. But wow. Just wow. This ending to me was perfect. Never has a show challenged me and made me think of my own humanity like Attack on Titan has. Perhaps Naruto comes close, but the raw emotions that this show has brought out of me will stay with me for the rest of my life, and the finale just seals the deal. First of all, on a technical level, they absolutely nailed the execution. The animation in this episode is top tier, all the way from the massive battle going on to the classic fluidity of the ODM gear to the raw emotions on the characters' faces. The music also just hits all the right spots to get you both insanely hyped, but also incredibly emotional. The score complements the action and the impactful moments perfectly. I also love how every character has room to shine in this final battle, which is hard to pull off when you have so many characters who are each unique and nuanced. And to give them all a satisfying payoff requires some truly incredible writing. Hats off to you, Isayama, and to both Wit Studios and MAPPA for making the show a reality and for nailing the finale. To be fair though, there were a lot of fake out deaths in the episode where characters were just about to die but then they get saved at the last minute, and it's not the most thrilling when it happens over and over again, but I do think these moments are done well and they're not that annoying. I can get over it, although I do think we should have had at least a couple more deaths in this final battle. I also just love the blend of painstaking action with these heart-to-heart interactions between characters. Some of my favorite parts of the episode were these quieter moments where the characters just talked, like Armin speaking with Zeke, Eren and Mikasa in the what-if scenario, and Connie and Jean standing arm in arm before turning into titans. I also think the scene with the people falling off the cliffs while saving that one crying baby is one of the most impactful moments in the show. It depicts people desperately trying to save a life that is yet to experience life, who is unblemished of any potential sin of the adults. It's impactful stuff, man. And these were beautiful moments, and that's what Attack on Titan is so good at. This story is human, and seeing Eren and Armin's final conversation hit really deep. Seeing Eren trying to rationalize his choices, agreeing with the twisted heroism that Armin tries to attribute to him, to completely breaking down after realizing what consequences his choices will have, to him finally accepting that what he did was ultimately for no reason. And yet, it was for all the reasons. And sure, he might be twisted and fucked up, and his obsession with freedom has led to the greatest atrocity ever committed, but behind those eyes, there's still just a boy dreaming of a world beyond his cage, who would do anything to soar above the clouds and be free. It's as he says, all of this happened because a dreaming idiot gained the power to fulfill his dreams. That's the thing, Isayama changing this part from the manga was a really good decision because he criticizes Eren's whole nature. Eren always chose violence, and the people with power who see violence as the best and only option are truly idiots. Attack on Titan ending on a bittersweet note, with this semi-redemption of Eren Yeager showing him as a person longing for love and freedom, but who is ultimately a slave to that very love and freedom he so desperately seeks, to the point that he wipes out 80% of humanity for ultimately no reason, which he, by the way, should never be forgiven for. His actions are utterly horrific. But this is, in my eyes, the perfect ending. A simple good or bad ending just wouldn't feel right for Attack on Titan. It would have been an injustice to the story. Sure, Eren could have turned Armin, Mikasa, and all the others into heroes that stopped the great evil who saved the world and then united it, thus breaking the cycle of hatred, but the cycle of hatred can't be broken. Humanity will always find ways to be at war no matter what. We see it daily in our own world. Atrocities and oppression lead to hatred that leads to violence and vengeance that leads to more atrocities and oppression, and this cycle continues for all of humanity. It's one of the central themes of the show. However, the show also constantly repeats that while conflict is inevitable, striving for peace and happiness is still worth it. Because for all of humanity's potential for destruction and hate, so exists the potential for love and community, and these two will forever be at odds with one another. And big up to Isayama for having the balls to actually show us such a deep and meaningful look into ourselves and our own humanity. All in all, the story of Eren Yeager's desire to go beyond the wall and be free is one that is as beautiful as it is complex. This is a story of horror and beauty, and above all else, freedom. The horror and beauty of freedom. Eren Yeager will go down as one of the greatest villains in all of fiction, and Attack on Titan will go down as one of the greatest stories of all time. And despite all the downvoting of the episode and the hate that I know Isayama will sadly receive, just like when the manga ended, I hope he knows that he crafted one of the most beautiful stories ever written, and that no one can take that away from him. Attack on Titan was built by him and he ended it on his own terms, so who gives a fuck what haters on the internet says? This finale is as bittersweet and nuanced as the rest of the story is, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Thank you, Isayama. This story means so much to me and so many other people out there, and it has been a ride ever since it started. Once I have some time to process this conclusion to my favorite show, I'll probably make a video about the hate this finale gets, because I both want to understand the reasons for it, but also push back against it. We also do need to remember that there are people who genuinely just don't like the finale, and that's absolutely valid. But there are also some people that I think have some really bad takes. For example, I've been seeing arguments for years now calling AOT pro-war, pro-fascist, and pro-genocide, and I think that's an incredibly poor reading of this show. Sure, Isayama hasn't always depicted everything perfectly. The clear parallels with World War II, Nazi Germany, and the Holocaust do seem a bit concerning at times when the Eldians, who yes are massively oppressed and subjugated into being either worthless or weapons, also turn out to actually be monsters, with Eren even murdering 80% of the world. And granted, the heroes are also Eldians, but if people want to criticize the execution of this Holocaust symbolism, then who am I to say anything against that? However, anyone who would even consider calling Isayama pro-war or pro-fascist has completely lost the plot. They don't understand what he was trying to say. A pro-fascist story would not portray fascism as realistically and horrifyingly as Attack on Titan does. Sure, there's no big fascism and war is bad statement at the end, and some people won't be able to understand the nuance here and perhaps get the wrong idea from it, which is absolutely worrying. But the story does spend a lot of time showing the horrific violence and atrocity that is war, oppression, racism, genocide, and fascism. I could get way more into this and I will, however that's for another day. For now I just want to have a moment to myself. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought of the finale down in the comment section. There are a lot of interpretations of this finale, so I'm excited to see what you thought of it. But other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful day, stay safe, and peace out.